Morning, guys. Freezing cold. Everyone's asleep. I think the wife's going to work earlier than normal this morning. It's very early. It's what time is it? Let's have a look. I'm still not awake. It's 6:28. I actually woke up at 5:45 because I had a bit of a funny tummy. Tummy was a bit achy, and I got a slight toothache at the back here. So I couldn't. It sort of woke me up. So I think something I ate yesterday that didn't agree with me. So I'm just gonna sit here and listen to this lovely young lady from What Now Net. Please subscribe to her. Read out chapter 5 to us, and obviously it's a reaction video. So it's a much more relaxing way of reading the book. I have read this book. I have read it, but uh, I prefer it. I prefer someone telling me about it. So I really like this channel. She's doing other books as well. She's done Softly as I Leave You, which we will cover that as well. She's going to read quite a few Elvis books. So let's have a little listen. It's not that long, but obviously we have to stop and start. So good morning to you. Thanks for joining me.
Welcome back. Today I'll be going over Ginger Alden's book, Elvis and Ginger. We'll be going over chapter 5. Thanks for being patient with me with these videos. I've been a little under the weather, so I sound a little nasally, so sorry about that. Ginger says,
I think the whole world is nasally at the moment. There's a lot of flu. I don't know what it's like in the countries you're in, guys, but everywhere there's flu and colds everywhere at the moment. Even COVID.
After her thrilling and surreal weekend trip to Las Vegas with Elvis, she tried to return to normal life. She went back to work at the dress shop on Monday without mentioning what happened over the weekend to anybody.
So obviously we've done chapter 4 yesterday. Go and watch it. So then it all ties into this. It's just she goes back to her real world, her real life, and she's had this amazing experience with Elvis. Let's see what she says.
She did later tell her friend Terry that day, though. Ginger says she didn't hear from Elvis on Monday, and by Tuesday morning, news broke that Jerry Lee Lewis had been arrested outside Graceland after ramming
I think we all know this story, don't we?
The gates with his car and demanding to see Elvis. He had Jerry Lee Lewis was carrying a pistol. Remembering Elvis's earlier comments about Jerry, Ginger thought that Elvis had been right to avoid him that night. Ginger says Wednesday passed without a call from Elvis, and she couldn't help wondering why.
It's a good point, actually. He's there ramming the gates. What were his intentions? He had a gun. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whoa.
Ginger says, quote, he had seemed to want to see me again after our time together in Las Vegas, and he'd certainly acted like I was special to him with all of the things he said and done. Ginger thought perhaps she had put too much weight into the magnitude of their encounters, and it wasn't as big to Elvis as it had been to her. Ginger says Larry
So it sounds like Ginger was keen.
Called her that night, and she was thrown into what she calls an emotional tailspin. She says, quote, whether it was my doing or not, things had changed for me. The past weekend had been completely mind-blowing, and I hadn't gone one day without thinking about Elvis.
Oh, that's lovely. I can see why it was mind-blowing there, But
invited Larry over and told him about Elvis. She wasn't even sure if Elvis would ever call her again, but she was willing to wait for him. Ginger broke up with Larry, but she says he still had hopes they could work things out. Poor
Okay. That's interesting.
Larry. I'm sure he's moved on and got married and maybe started a family, but I feel so bad for him. I mean, talk about a bad draw. Larry versus Elvis Presley. Ginger says
poor old Larry. So she was seeing Larry at the time she met Elvis then. Okay, that's interesting.
Bracelet that Elvis gave her, she rarely ever wore it because she was scared that she might lose it. And she mostly just looked at it in her room. Thanksgiving came and went, and still no word from Elvis. Ginger was afraid it was over and she'd have to go back to her, quote, real life.
So obviously we don't have Thanksgiving in England. for me, I've always looked at it. You have 2 Christmases. You have 2 Christmas days. You have your Thanksgiving and then Christmas Day. So you get double food, double the food. That's not fair. You get your turkey and ham. And we don't. We have to wait till Christmas Day. So have a good Thanksgiving, guys. I think is it a week away? You tell me. Put it in the comments. I did watch Memphis Mafia Kids show this morning. It was excellent. I think the last 4 shows I've watched of Danny Smith with Teresa have been brilliant, really good, great. I've enjoyed the questions. I just thought they were really interesting, and 100% subscribed to Memphis Mafia Kid and Teresa's channel. And I watched EFM's show as well. I think the day before, and that was excellent as well. You know, come on, guys, you know what I'm like. You know, I love hearing the sweet stories about Elvis. I do. Let's keep going.
It was the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the phone rang, and it was Joe Esposito who introduced himself as Elvis's road manager. He asked to speak to Ginger and told her Elvis was on tour and wanted to fly her out to San Francisco for one of his shows. Ginger says, quote, "My initial reaction was one of enormous relief. That's why I haven't heard anything. I thought he's been on tour. I even rationalized that maybe this road trip was the reason why we had left Vegas so soon." Ginger says Elvis suddenly jumped on the phone call and told her, "I need you out here with me, Ginger," and added with a chuckle, "Get your ass out here." Overjoyed.
Interesting. Could you imagine Elvis saying to you, "I need you out here right now. Get your ass over here."
Wait to hear from Elvis, Ginger agreed to his blunt invitation, "Get your ass out here," even though the language startled her at first.
Would you? Would you guys? It's funny because the language startled her at first.
She says her surprise quickly gave way to excitement as she realized he was asking her to join him on tour. Elvis asked to speak with Ginger's mother to reassure her about the upcoming trip, wanting to ease any concerns her mom may have had.
So Elvis actually asked to speak to her mother. Wow. See, that's what a gentleman Elvis is. He's such a gentleman.
After their brief conversation, Joe returned to the line to finalize details, and he told Ginger to be at Memphis Aero by 10:30 that night.
Yeah, so Joe would do his job, make sure everything was organized, things. Let's keep going.
He hurried to pack, feeling completely unprepared and unsure what to wear, until her sister Terry stepped in and lent her a few elegant outfits from her pageants. It was very cold that night, and at one point, Milo High, Elvis's personal pilot, called to tell her that they couldn't open the door to the Jetstar because it was frozen shut. So she sat in her house wondering if she'd even make it out to San Francisco. A few hours later, she got a call that it was all clear, and her dad drove her to the airport. As the plane took off and headed for California, Ginger says she reflected on how Elvis was once again having her experience things she'd never done before. This time it was flying alone to a city she'd never been to see a man she barely knew. Ginger says she felt a sudden wave of unease and wished one of her sisters or a friend could have come along so she wouldn't have to face this trip alone. They landed in San Francisco in the early morning hours on Sunday, November 28th. Milo and George,
so she's totally alone, yeah? Is that right? Am I hearing this correct?
the co-pilot, drove Ginger to the hotel and took her up to her room. After arriving, Ginger called her parents collect to let them know that she was safe. And then she began unpacking, expecting Elvis to contact her soon since he had arranged her travel. He had to know that she was there. Excited but exhausted from the long trip and the time difference, she tried to stay awake by watching TV. She didn't want to fall asleep in case Elvis had come by. She didn't change into pajamas or wash her face for bed even as dawn approached. A few hours later, she figured Elvis had to be asleep by now, so she went to bed herself. She woke up around 3 p.m. and showered and got dressed, but she had rushed for nothing because hours had passed, and even though it was after 4, there was still no word from Elvis. She was trying to make sense of it. She told herself he might be letting her rest. She was hungry, and she realized that she hadn't brought any money. She felt awkward about ordering room service on Elvis's tab, or...
I'll tell you what, she's so decent. She felt awkward about ordering room service. in case Elvis paid. It's like, it's so sweet.
Leaving the room in case he called. As more time dragged by, she sat watching TV, feeling increasingly uncomfortable and bewildered by being flown out of Memphis only to be left waiting in silence. Ginger.
Yeah, I mean, put yourself in her shoes. Yeah, so it's a massive experience in it. Suddenly, whooshed from Memphis. I'm interested to know why. Yeah, let's keep listening.
Says she wasn't angry with Elvis. She knew he'd brought her out there because he wanted her to see his show. But as the long day stretched into night, without any contact, she began to feel confused and forgotten. Finally, around 6 p.m., the phone rang. She answered eagerly, only to find it was one of Elvis's staff checking if she needed anything. When she mentioned being hungry, whoever was on the phone told her to order food and charge it to the room, then hung up without saying anything about Elvis or his whereabouts. Ginger was confused, and she wondered.
Yeah, that is good. That is confusing.
If Elvis's whereabouts were being kept a secret, but at least she was finally able to eat. She says she ordered room service, something she had never had before. Ginger says late that night, Jerry Schilling knocked on her door and told her she would be moving into a different room and then walked away. She sat down to watch some more television thinking she had some time because everything had gone so slowly up till then. But Jerry returned shortly after, and this time he was with Joe Esposito. She quickly packed, and they walked her to the next room. And when they opened the door to what she assumed was her new room, she was surprised to find Elvis sitting on a couch in a suite, wearing a blue terry cloth robe and surrounded by several men. The moment their eyes met, her heart skipped. After all the waiting and confusion, she was overjoyed to finally see him. Ginger says she felt more scrutinized walking into this room full of men, and she felt uncomfortable. Elvis greeted her warmly with a smile and a hug before introducing her to the men gathered in the suite. Among them were his hairdresser, Larry Geller, his stepbrother and aide, Billy Stanley, karate instructor, Ed Parker, his physician, Dr. George Nikopoulos, a.k.a.
Okay, so I didn't know Billy was there at this point. Okay, let's keep going.
Dr. Nick, the doctor's son, Dean, and Al Strada. Dean and Al were both young aides who worked alongside Billy. She was also introduced to Lamar Fike, but Elvis didn't mention what his position was within the group, so she wondered if Lamar was just visiting. Elvis led her into his bedroom, and she recognized the same books from Graceland scattered all over the room. Ginger says, quote, seeing that most of the books had to do with spirituality, I realized for the first time that Elvis truly was on a serious personal quest. She said,
yeah, definitely, 100%.
They sat and talked about her trip, but he made no mention of why she waited for him alone for so long. Elvis then read aloud from his well-worn books, showing Ginger passages he'd underlined and notes he'd written in the margins.
It's funny, so they're obviously a brand new relationship. Elvis, it's important to him with Ginger to read the different books that scattered around the room, the same books that he has at Gracelands. Yeah, they're all similar. Yeah, that says a lot to me about Elvis. People keep saying about Elvis, being a womanizer and stuff like that. I'm like, why is he obviously is dating Ginger, the early stages of dating, and he feels the need to read to her, to share his books, the underlined sections that he'd underlined. That says a lot to me. I've always said this, that Elvis got to a point in his life where it wasn't just about intimate stuff. It was, the intimate, you know what I mean? Yeah. There was so much more. He wanted to share what he was going through, how his mind, his soul searching, looking for purpose, wondering why me. A lot of that was happening, and he wanted to share that with who he took seriously as a date. Yeah, obviously, Ginger Alden, he did. He must have felt something. Otherwise, why would they have got engaged? Yeah.
Ginger says she realized he took his reading seriously and admired his deep curiosity and desire to learn. The bedroom door remained slightly open, and she could see some of his associates still sitting in the living room. And it struck her that this late night schedule, because it was now past 1 a.m., might be normal for Elvis and his circle. When they both grew tired, Elvis walked Ginger to her own bedroom in the suite like a gentleman.
Well, I like that. He walked her to the suite like a gentleman.
By now, the other men were no longer in the living room. She says Elvis kissed her goodnight and then went back to his room and she went to bed. Someone knocked on her.
See? Decent. See, Elvis was a gentleman. Kissed her goodnight. Didn't try it on. Read spiritual books to her, probably religious books as well, Christian books, and shared his feelings, his thoughts with Ginger. Then walks her to her room, gives her a kiss goodnight. That isn't a guy who is just rampant trying to find the next woman. He obviously respects Ginger. He obviously has a feeling for Ginger that is different. Yeah, like I had that when I met my wife. You know, I still have it now. But when you first meet someone, you know, obviously I dated different girls. There was just something about my wife, yeah, that was different, felt different, yeah. So I wanted to share my life with her, yeah. And I think Elvis had that with Ginger, didn't he? He wanted to share his life with Ginger. I really believe that. And the fact that they got engaged says it all to me.
Her door at 4 p.m. later that day and said, "Breakfast." Ginger woke up with a startle and hurriedly put on clothes and makeup. She says she joined Elvis in the living room, eating breakfast on the couch instead of the bed for a change. Elvis was still in his pajamas and wore a blue hooded robe over them. For breakfast, they had Southwestern omelets, bacon, coffee, and juice. I remember in Priscilla's book, her first book, she said Elvis enjoyed what she called in her book Spanish omelets for breakfast. He is a creature of habit for sure.
Oh, I like Spanish omelette. It's one of my favorite.
Ginger says some of the men from the night before began filling up the room, and she saw they all had the same TCB lightning necklaces. Ginger says spending more time alone with Elvis.
I've got one. Carolyn got it for me. She's so special. Thank you, Carolyn. It's upstairs. I hang it on my unicorn light, but this is the box that came in. Yeah, and it's by Elvis collection by Lowell Hayes, made from original Elvis mold. This is what Carolyn got me. A beautiful TCB necklace. Very special to me. I treasure Carolyn. I treasure it. I love it. And it sits next to me where I sleep on the unicorn.
She got to see his lively sense of humor as he smoked a cigar and joked with his friends and made witty remarks while flipping through TV channels. She says, though, she noticed Elvis's language was much rougher around the guys than when he spoke to her. She says as their relationship...
But that's pretty normal, isn't it? I think so. Yeah.
Deepened, she learned to tolerate his occasional profanity, but she was never completely comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not used to it, I might believe it or not, my kids don't like it if I swear, nor does my wife. Sometimes I will swear, not in anger, just as you know, the generations I grew up with in the 70s, 80s, swearing. Everyone around me swore, even sometimes my parents. Definitely my friends. So it's best not to. I think.
At one point during breakfast, while Elvis was chatting, Ginger stood up to go to the bathroom. Elvis grabbed her hand and asked, "Where are you going?" She told him she was going to wash her hands, and he said, "Oh, okay, hurry back." Ginger says, quote, "I was pleased and flattered. Elvis had been so engaged in conversation with his entourage, I thought he wouldn't even notice if I slipped out of the room for a few minutes. Apparently, though, he was still focused on me, and my presence was important to him." Eventually, Elvis went into his bedroom to get ready for that evening show, and Ginger went into her room to get ready as well. She returned to the living room, and she says Elvis stepped out of his room wearing a white jumpsuit and white boots, and his hair was done perfectly. Ginger says seeing him in his stage outfits up close took her breath away. He was so handsome. Ginger says,
"Love it. Of course he was. Of course. Come on, it's Elvis."
Elvis looked at her and raised an eyebrow and quote, gave me a slightly worried look. She says she couldn't believe that he was anxious before a performance after all these years.
Yeah, Elvis never stopped being nervous, anxious before a performance. Yeah.
Realization of his nervousness made her feel even more affection for him. She mouthed, "Very nice." as a form of encouragement. With Elvis's entourage surrounding them, Ginger and Elvis left the room and walked quietly down the hallway. She says he was clearly focused on his upcoming performance. Outside the hotel, there were cars and a limousine waiting with a police escort. Ginger says it was her first time riding in a limo. She and Elvis sat next to each other, and she says Elvis spoke softly, explaining to her it was to protect his voice. When they arrived at the Cow Palace, Elvis was whisked away to his dressing room, and Ginger was escorted to the arena floor and told to wait near the stage. She says,
Whew, could you imagine how she feels? I wonder if this is the one where he introduces her. So let's keep going.
the venue was packed, and comedian Jackie Kahaney was performing as Elvis's opening act, and she felt both thrilled and nervous while she waited for someone to tell her what to do next. Ginger says this was her second Elvis concert, and she felt lucky to be there as his own personal guest instead of a regular ticket holder. Dean Akopoulos gave her a soft drink and then told her she would be sitting on stage behind Elvis's soundmen. She says, quote, "It felt great that he wanted me this close to him." Dean told her, "Just make sure you head for the limo at the start of his closing song, Can't Help Falling in Love." He said, "Otherwise it might be tough to get you out of here when the fans rush the stage at the end of the show." Then Ginger was led on stage where she met soundmen Felton Jarvis and Bruce Jackson, and she waited for the show to begin. I feel like this is a good place to stop, just because I think the video is going to be pretty long already. So stay tuned for part 2 of chapter 5 in my next video. See you.
Okay, obviously we have the book. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's a lovely book. Part 2 of chapter 5. We'll do that maybe later or tomorrow. I really enjoyed that. I don't know why. I just really enjoy listening to this young lady review books. I find her just the way she does it quite soothing, relaxing, easy listening. I wonder. Let's have a look. If we can get where Elvis introduces Ginger. I can't play music. Let's just see if we can find it. He introduces her as his girlfriend. Let's have a look. Obviously, it's early in the morning, guys.
I'd like you to say hello to my girlfriend Ginger. Ginger, stand up, honey. Sit down, Ginger. It's enough for her. I'd like you to say hello to my girlfriend Ginger. Ginger, stand up, honey. Sit down, Ginger. It's enough for her. Much more than you'll ever know. Yes, sir.
I can't play the music, but she's beautiful. So there was one more bit I wanted to play you this morning, guys. Early in the morning. It's like not even quite 7 a.m. yet. That is Donna Presley did a little 3-minute video of her in Sweden walking around in the snow, and I thought it was really special. I just wonder if I can find it. I loved it. Well, it's Karen sent it me, so I don't know if it's on her channel. Let's have a look. It might not be. Let's have a look. Oh, it's not here. She sent me such a lovely video of her in the snow. Let's have a look. No, I'm gonna have to do it separately. Where is it? Let's have a look. It must be there. Let's have a look. One more check, guys. Is it this one? No. Let me click on the channel and let's see if it comes up. So please do subscribe to Donna. Obviously, I'm a massive fan. Let's see, it's there. No, it doesn't matter because I can do it on a completely separate. She's in Sweden. She's obviously out there defending Elvis, supporting Elvis, praising Elvis. Is this it? Let's have a look. This could be it, guys. I hope it is. No, I mean, that is definitely the video, but that's just a screenshot. Oh, I see. It's members only. Okay. I'm going to find out if I'm able to play it, and then I'm going to come back. So I'm going to come back and play the second half of chapter 5. And don't forget, she's also doing other books as well. Can we just go back a minute? Right, so I will be uploading some more replays as well. I didn't do many yesterday for some reason. I was busy dealing with all the YouTube stuff, and it massively distracted me. Let's have a look. It's funny, after watching that chapter, my tummy feels a bit better, and my toothache stopped hurting. It'll probably come back in a minute. So, you know, it's funny, we see Presley Mania. I've still got to do a review of her latest
Welcome back.
video. So let's have a look here. So let's just see where we are with this young lady's reading. If you look, she's up to chapter 8 on Ginger Aldens' book, Elvis and Ginger. Let me just have a look at the Softly As I Leave You. We've been sort of jumping around on the chapters on Softly As I Leave You. All right, I've only just seen this. So, okay, so she's done a bit of Lisa's book, From Here to the Great Unknown. Where are we? So, Softly As I Leave You, yeah, it looks to me like she read the whole book. It says chapter 20 there, then she's gone on to Ginger's book. So we will go to that. We have done 4 or 5 chapters of that already. Really good, I thought. Still some more to go back to. Yeah, so that's it. But I know she's mentioned at least 2 other books that she's going to read, 2 other Elvis related books. I wonder if she'll do Linda's book, because I'd like to review Linda's book. I was trying to do it yesterday, Linda's book, but I found that a lot of the people that have done the book reviews, Linda's book, A Little Thing Called Life, yeah, which isn't just about Elvis, it's also Bruce Jenner, yeah. I found they were quite negative. They were focusing on the Linda. Let's face it, I'm a fan of Linda, but she does say some pretty uncomfortable details about Elvis in this book, which I wish she didn't. Yeah, but I'm still a fan of Linda. She defends Elvis all day long. There's just some things in that book I think could have been left out. So when I found the book reviews, I found a few yesterday. I didn't like them. I didn't like they were focusing on the negative stuff, but there's a lot of lovely things being said about Elvis in a positive way, in a way that lifts him up by Linda, So I want to find a review that shows that. I do know, of course, I've read the book, so I know the negative stuff. I don't want to read it out. I'm not interested in reading out really horrible things about Elvis when he isn't able to give his take on it, his version of things. Obviously people write their stories from their memories. I like Elvis's version, and I'm not having a go at Linda. I love Linda. She does beautiful interviews. She goes around the world praising Elvis, lifting Elvis up. She goes to Elvis Week. She's obviously very welcome to Graceland's. She's like a star, isn't she, Linda? I would love to see Donna Presley at Graceland's, because come on, she's family. Yeah, we've got ex-girlfriends, but it doesn't get better than family, I don't think. Not than a first cousin. Yeah, a blood Presley. That's just how I see it. Donna should be the one that is really hailed. Yeah, as a family member, and the same for the Smiths. Yeah, the Smiths are family. Yeah, Billy Smith, Elvis's cousin. So they're equally important, aren't they? The Smiths and Donna. And then I would say the girlfriends come after that. Obviously, Ginger was engaged to Elvis. I'm a big fan of Ginger. She has shown me some support on my channel. She answers my questions for me now and then. So you know, I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I'm able to have discussions with people that knew Elvis. Yeah. There's other people that talk to me as well that knew Elvis. So I'm very flattered. Yeah. I feel very fortunate. I don't take it for granted. So I love Ginger. I love Linda. This young lady on her YouTube channel, whatnow.net, she does a good job. I think we've got a lot of good things to come from this girl. I wonder how long she'll stick with the Elvis topics, because she obviously reads other books as well. Please subscribe to her, and good work, great work. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I'm going to upload this now. It's very, very early in the morning. Everyone is asleep. Yeah, but you know, we are defending Elvis, but we are also covering other topics now. We're not just going to be defending. Yeah, so more to come. Take care, guys. I will be uploading some replays as well. Take care. Love you all, guys. Thank you. TCB, Defending Elvis. Team Elvis, you rock.